up. Get ready. It's going to be a very, very intense journey. Begin.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to a very special episode 69 of the Frameskip Podcast, a video game discussion podcast and everything that comes along with that. Mostly I'm saying that as a backdoor excuse to talk about movies and comics because I'm hosting this, and football, and I'm hosting this week so I can do whatever I want. I am one of your hosts, George Loftus. Joining me through the magical series of tubes and strings and wires that is the internet, we've got Elijah, the meatloaf chest himself, loco lizard man to your local streamers.
I would do anything for love. I'm just going to end there because it's kind of true. So,
I would do that.
Here's a side thing. I was listening to an album today that I haven't listened to in years. 22 years this album has been out, and it still slaps.
Okay, wait, hold on. 22 years ago.
Digimon, the movie soundtrack.
No, but that's a great album.
Dang it.
I will say, Pokemon probably had like the more iconic song, obviously.
You're thinking way too soundtrack.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, the Digimon the movie soundtrack is, like, legit good. Like, a bunch of bops.
It also had songs that probably weren't the best for kids, like the Rockefeller Skank.
That's fine. I mean,
the impression that I get.
If you're old enough to Digimon, you're old enough to know what a skank is, I think.
The impression that I get, the song literally about, I might have gotten her pregnant.
Okay, Elijah, we want to know, though, what's this album you're talking about?
Lens. Oh, God, what is the name of it?
Steal My Sunshine, whatever, that one.
Yeah, that one, yeah. That album is fantastic.
That album sucks. There is one good song. There is one good song. It's the one song everyone knows by Len. You ask 100 people to name a second song by Len. 100 people are going to go, wait, they had more than one song?
Look, that album is hot fire. Beautiful Day, featuring Biz Markie. Great song.
R.I.P. Biz, yeah.
Yeah. Cryptic Souls Crew, so fun.
Okay, I'm the host, so I can cut this off. That album's garbage. I love you so much. You're one of my favorite people, but that is just bad noise for ears. Also joining us through the internet, the man who puts the hot in Hotlanta, Austin Fresh Cut Eller. Austin, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, George. And I have to say, Digimon, I mean, what a superior show in every way to Pokemon.
Well, my God.
It's so much better.
Yeah.
It's just better in every way. Better in every way. They might not have had as good of games, though. I will say that. But
and then Digimon World 2 came out and changed everything.
Yeah.
when it comes to the
Frameskip, the Digimon World 2 fan cast. So Polygon is owned by a large company that also for a while owned SB Nation, which was like a sports company.
Yeah.
And so there was a crossover video that Polygon made where it was basically like an altered history about like what would have had to happen for Digimon to become like the dominant anime for younger kids the way Pokemon was. And it was a pretty fascinating idea. And like the inflection point was, you remember that episode of Pokemon where it was like a Porygon episode and like it just like hospitalized a bunch of children because the bright lights like triggered seizures. So the idea was that because of that episode, Pokemon was just dead on arrival in the States. And it was just like what Digimon would have had to have done to become like the most popular children's anime. And I really, really recommend this video from Polygon. It was them clearly making it under the influence of SB Nation, currently Secret Base on YouTube, which is one of my favorite channels. They make incredible content.
Digimon was just more fun, too. Fun fact about Digimon that not a lot of people know. Digimon originated in America, but no company in America wanted to make the show. So the creator went over to Japan, where Pokemon just came out, and pitched it, and they accepted it because of Pokemon's massive success.
I didn't actually know that.
Yeah,
wow.
Person who originally came up with it was American.
I mean, it was just so cool because it's like, you know, I really want to hang out with Charizard, but like I can't sit on the couch with Charizard. I can sit on the couch with Charmander. You know, it's just the built-in idea of like, oh, we can get super powerful and then go down to being like adorable and pint-sized. And the fact that we can talk like adults is really cool.
I was going to say, they can communicate. That's fascinating.
They're not just saying their names over and over again.
Well, and let's be honest, it had a more interesting art style. Like, I love like the watercolor backgrounds.
Yep.
I love the idea of them being transferred into a computer because that show came out right as everyone was like obsessed and terrified of Y2K.
Yep.
Got it. What a time.
Seriously.
What a time.
And I like that they continued the series understanding that people were growing up. So they made a series to grow up with the viewers in the new one. So
I haven't watched it yet.
I'm not gonna lie, I cried in the last episode.
Well, because it's releasing, I've only seen like the DVDs pop up. So is it like OVAs, like a 5-part like movie series, basically?
Each one is basically 3 episodes.
Okay.
So good.
All right. Cool. I have the first one. Digimon Try. Like that's.
Yes.
Okay.
It's technically season 3.
Gotcha. All right, might be worth checking that out then. But hey, we're a video game podcast. Let's talk about some games. Who wants to go first? Who's more eager to talk?
I want Elijah to go.
All right, well, it's decided then.
All right,
it is decided.
So, there are 3 games I played. One of them is seriously glitched, and that's Bee Simulator. I do not.
Oh my god, how is this game?
I do not recommend.
How is this the leadoff game?
Because I'm getting the bad, throwing it out the window to make more room for the good.
And shuffling out. Gotcha.
Exactly. If I'm going to party, I'm going to party with the good. I'm going to send the bad out the window and just hope there's nothing underneath to catch it.
You mean you're going to send the bees out the window, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
You say you hope there's nothing underneath the ketchup?
Underneath to catch it.
To catch it. Okay. I was like, sorry, I thought that was like a Philly idiom. And I wasn't sure. Like, that's fascinating. I thought Pittsburgh was the ketchup city, but all right.
Good old Heinz. No, it is seriously glitched. A number of times I would finish a quest and it would be like, all right, I've finished the quest. Yeah, no, I did. How about you finish the quest? No, I did. Why don't you finish the quest? I'm like, what do you think I did? It'll be like, sting this person. And they'll just show the person just run. And then turn around and start running another direction. And it's like, sting the person. And I'm like...
So what I'm hearing is this sounds like Buck Bumble, but like terrible. Whereas Buck Bumble was fantastic on the N64.
I was going to say, I don't even know what game that is, but I can already assume it's better than that.
Basically, Elijah, it was a bee that had a machine gun. And you flew around just killing other insects.
Message me that because I need that game. But...
be 110% honest with me right now. Did you buy this game for either streaming clout or for a trophy? Like for the platinum? Yeah.
Pretty easy platinum, except a number of them are glitched. So like you can only get the platinum if you don't update the game, because updates took out quests that you need trophies for. Like you need to beat these quests to get trophies, and the quests don't exist anymore. So like, you need to revert back to that save. You need to make sure not to do something else. So when you finish your first playthrough, you start the next playthrough and do 2 certain things to finish out that one collectible trophy that is glitched in one playthrough. It's terrific. It's great. It's terrible. But the 2 games I do want to talk about, the actual good ones.
All right.
First up, we got Shadow Hearts. I've been playing. It's a PS2 gothic horror JRPG. 3 buzzwords had me in.
Yeah.
Now
buzzwords.
Oh, B. I think of this game similar to like, your old school Final Fantasy or whatever, but there are a couple main differences. First, the battle system. While it may seem normal, each attack there is a like ring where it'll say hit X in the attack circle 3 times, and there will be like 3 sections of the circle. You have to hit X when the ring gets around to each section, and that'll do an attack. And the more you do, the better the attack is, etc., etc.
So like, sorry, kind of like rhythm gamey.
Yeah, in a way.
Okay.
Then each character has SP, or what I think someone said stands for like sanity points. And basically, if it gets to 0, the character goes berserk and will, like, you can't control them then, and they will do any moves they have on anything in the fight. So they could just start attacking your other character or something like that. One of the main bad guys is named Henry Bacon. So when they start yelling, "We need to stop Bacon," I can't hold it together because bacon.
Sure.
They could be saying we need to eat him or something.
You know what? He's a bad guy, so I'm not against it. Another thing is apparently
Bad people, they should be eaten. Right, Elijah? That's
exactly. Apparently, the main character grows on you, but he starts out as a real creeper. And I was like, I'm streaming it. I'm just like, whoa, this is not okay. Because he's there. Oh, she's asleep. Maybe I could have a feel. I'm like, whoa, this is not cool. Apparently, he grows on you.
To be fair, wasn't cool when that game came out either.
Right?
Just so we're clear.
Yeah, I mean, it was never cool, I guess, is what we're saying.
But, like, how is this? Apparently, the main character grows on you. Just what I've heard from multiple people.
Yikes.
But, like, that happened, like, 3 times near the beginning. He said that. I'm like, can you stop, please? But so far, it's getting better. But, like, the story is interesting. Not too much has happened yet, main story-wise. I did clear out a village of cannibal demons that at night the village just gets covered in blood. So there's the horror aspect. No, it's good so far, minus the creeper. The last real game I want to talk about.
Wait, no, hold on. Sorry, before you get into it.
Yes.
So I'm not super versed in JRPGs. I played a couple, but I'm not going to pretend it's like a genre I'm like an expert in. When you say the story is pretty good, does that mean in terms of like a traditional JRPG structure? Does that mean it bucks the convention of these games, like what you expect? Like what qualifies?
It's rather typical where not too much has happened yet. We know this main character, there is something about him that he can do these transformations. And this Bacon fellow, who is a magic user, went after this girl, Alice, we rescued at the beginning. And the whole reason is because the main character gets this voice in his head occasionally that, like, he should listen to because that kind of gives him advice. And there's this higher up magician that this Bacon fellow is working for that is going to ascend in some festival. But Alice is apparently the only person that can stop him. That's kind of where I'm at right now, story-wise. It's not too far in. I'm only about 5-6 hours, maybe. About like 1/6 of the way, my guess. But yeah, it's fun so far. The real game I want to talk about actually came out today, is Kena Bridge of Spirits, which I've been incredibly excited for. And of course, I pre-ordered this game last week, and yesterday morning they announced a physical edition. So I'm going to be getting both. These comes with the soundtrack. But Kena, the best way I can explain this is it reminds you of a PS2 game. But when I say that, do you remember what everybody said about Octopath Traveler when it came out?
Yeah, it's just like, this is what 16-bit RPGs are like in my head. Like, this is the way I remember them.
Exactly. And that's what I mean by it feels like a PS2 game. It's much better, but this feels exactly how you remember playing Ratchet and Clank for the first time. That's what it's that same. It is gorgeous. It reminds me of a DreamWorks movie. This game has no right being this beautiful, honestly.
Well, that studio is like a former like animators, right? Like,
yes.
that was like their thing. They were like an actual like animation studio.
All they've ever did is animation. This is their first game. They did a bunch of Coke commercials in China, and they did a Majora's Mask little fan movie thing.
Oh yeah, that one was sick. Yeah.
And yeah, this is their first game. It is, I loathe to say, a budget title because it is a $40 game, but it doesn't feel like it. From what I hear, I'm about 1/4 of the way through, maybe 1/5, and it is so charming. These rots are adorable. The story is it's so. It's kind of its weakest point. The overall story, I don't really know too much about yet, but there are like little characters you learn about and kind of help along the way, and their stories are super good. Like, I'm helping this first character pass on because as a spirit guide, Kena's whole basically job is to help spirits who have been unable to pass on. And you find this village that's overcome with this rot, that there's this like main antagonist. We don't really know his story or anything yet, but he's the one kind of causing all this to happen. And it's not just that he can't pass on. There's something keeping him here for like a selfish purpose, but we don't know yet. This game is adorable and I am loving it. And I can't say for sure since I haven't beaten it yet, but as of right now, it looks like this game could make it into my top 5 of the year.
Oh, damn. One day into it, right?
Yeah, like, so much about this game is great. There are, like, the combat is fine, but I say that as in, like, this combat is better than it should be. So, I take that as you will. There are downsides to this game. It's not like your AAA game, but it's so good. And, like, you're not paying full price for it. This game is worth full price, in my opinion. It's just everything. Oh, and the music is astounding. So good.
It just looks fantastic. And I mean, had I not just bought Deathloop, I definitely would have picked it up. But it looks so good. And I mean, even from the trailers, ever since they first showed it off, I mean, it's astounding to me that they could pull off that kind of animation, like Pixar looking style and put it in a video game. And I know people make that comparison a lot with Ratchet and Clank, but I don't think it's fully on that level. I think there's something with Kena,
like
though.
the character design is, but like besides that, like the actual game world, I don't think is very Pixar-like.
Yeah,
with this,
I mean, the gameplay to me, based off the trailers, I mean, it literally looks like, I mean, you could pull screenshots from the game, straight up gameplay, and you know, if I didn't know, I would say, you know, maybe that's a Disney or a Pixar film, which isn't just crazy.
Photo mode, I am loving. I'm spending a lot of time in that, I have discovered. And now that I got the bow, I'm going to spend even more time in photo mode because I have some new pictures to take.
Cool, yeah. All the reviews I've seen is just like it's like a 3D Zelda game. It's like, or like an old 3D Zelda game, not like Breath of the Wild. You know, like the bad one. It's like Okami. Like it's like a fun like action adventure game. Which
Okami is a
great
reference I've seen a number of times now, which actually has me interested in trying Okami.
Oh, Okami's fantastic! What a good game.
It's pretty fun.
So the physical copy, though, Elijah, is it out now, or is that something?
It comes out in November.
Okay, because that might be when I grab it.
Yeah, that, like, I already, you know, I bought the game, I pre-ordered it, whatever. I have zero problems getting another copy of this game because I love this game. It is worth it to me. Like, I will gladly pay $100 in the end for this game.
Is it coming out at 60 physically?
50. It is the deluxe edition of the game. So it comes with the soundtrack, extra DLC, and a sticker sheet.
Oh, that's nice.
Nice.
But that's all I have.
Cool. What's your beverage right there?
Blackberry White Claw.
I didn't know there was a blackberry.
I drank pineapple the other night.
I don't love the pineapple one. I'm sorry. I don't like the first pineapple. Like the third one's alright. First one's a little rough.
First one's a little rough, but by the third one, it all tastes great.
Oh, God, love it.
Everything tastes the same at that point.
Austin, would you like to go next and talk about what you've been playing?
Yeah, I've really only been playing one game, but I will say that we all did play the Ghost of Tsushima Legends mode the other day, and it was George and I's first time trying that out, and just really cool, really neat that they were able to kind of do that with that gameplay and that game. You know, I
really upsetting that you can't do story mode with more than 2 players, though.
Yeah, I will say that was kind of disappointing.
Like, I kind of get it from, like, I played some story mode on Silver by myself last night, and like I was able to beat the missions, so I get it in a way, but also I don't like it to be that limited.
Yeah, well, and especially when the whole mode is supposed to be about co-op and 4-player co-op, I feel
Yeah.
like is like the big thing. And so it is kind of disappointing that I guess there are those specific story missions which we didn't do at all that are 2-player only, which kind of sucks. But
It's super cool. It's really strange to me that like they thought about how to create a multiplayer mode for this game, and there was nothing for Infamous ever. And like I get it. Like I mean that seems difficult as hell. But man, can you imagine though? Like just create it. Like I feel like that would be a pretty fun multiplayer suite.
I actually had someone say when that trailer for Spider-Man 2 started, and it just shows the street, and then you see the lightning. She freaked out, and she's like, "Is this an Infamous?"
I for sure thought it was Infamous as well.
I did too. No, and that is interesting though, George, because I feel like that'd be pretty straightforward. I mean, back in the day, if you had just done like a 6v6 like deathmatch style game, I mean, it's basically just a shooter.
Yeah, with hands.
Like a few extra
hand
things.
shooter.
Yeah,
It's just weird to me that they developed this like level editor, and that was like the multiplayer interaction. And so it's really encouraging to see them like that was like the last time they like really tried to do multiplayer, right? And then
so.
to go from that to this extremely polished thing. I was really impressed with it. I don't know how much I'll keep playing it, but I was really impressed with like how well thought out the multiplayer was. Elijah, please.
A hand shooter.
Yeah, I said it.
A hand shooter. I am using that in my everyday life now.
Okay.
Somehow, some way. Now, I want to play through Legends just to... There are only 2 trophies that you have to have, like, 3 players to get or more.
We'll help you get those, Papa Bear, don't worry.
Complete the raid and finish survival on gold.
So not too bad then, if you can get enough people with high enough gear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's just to play through it because like all the gear is shared among all the classes, and I just unlocked the last class last night. So that class immediately got ranked up to key like 50.
Right.
I'm just sitting here with key 21 like some kind of jerk, I guess.
Hey, you're
I was going to say, I think I'm about there too, 20-ish.
I was so happy because after the first time we played, I equipped gear and I was like 1 key higher than Austin. I was like, that sucks to be Austin. Austin sucks at this game. And then like we played some more stuff, and then like we equipped everything, and then Austin was like 2 key higher than me. I'm like, this sucks. Like I'm just a babby over here in the corner, not being able to do anything with my low key.
A babby. I love that. That's good. Aside from that, though, the only other game I've been playing, I literally said last week that I would not be buying until Black Friday, and I did buy it, and that is Deathloop. So,
oh my God, dude, how good is Deathloop?
George, at this point, unless something crazy comes out, it's going to be my game of the year. Like I don't think there's anything that's going to be able to beat this for me. And I'm so glad that I bought it, because I really was going to hold off. And just, I think you and I were in the same boat, George. Elijah, I know you weren't really looking forward to it. But I've always found this game appealing just because the style of the game, and we talked about it earlier in the year, George, kind of to me, this game has a real style to it. The whole kind of like 60s, like Vertigo-esque, like kind of theming. And it's just an incredible kind of thematic game, I guess I would say. Like it just follows this theme. And so on that front, just I know we've gotten trailer after trailer after trailer, and I know that people have gotten tired of that. Yeah, after trailer. But I've always been looking forward to this game. And
yeah, this is one of the few games I could say that has like lived up to the hype.
Yes.
Like it sucks because it's been delayed, right? Wasn't it? It was supposed to come out back in May.
It's supposed to be May, yeah.
And so like that sucks. And so obviously with that becomes like a whole new level of like marketing that they have to do for the game, right? Because all the time they bought for it back then, they were probably able to get like a little bit of money back for it, but like they still like, okay, now we got to pimp this game. Living up to the hype. And you're right, dude. Like it's just dripping with personality. Like it is just so stylized to a point where like it feels crafted and not like designed. Like I don't really know how to articulate that point, but like it feels so lovingly built in a way that I think of very few games recently have been.
Yeah, and it's like it's just something about it. I mean, and I will say the only issue I've really had with it so far is the game is a little unstable at times. I know George, you're playing it too, and obviously if that hasn't been made clear at this point, but I did have the game crash on me once, which was a little frustrating because the way the game works, it's not a roguelike game. It just has roguelike elements, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain. It's more story based, and you do what you want to do essentially. It's not like you're repeating the same actions over and over again.
Yeah, I guess. Sorry to take the one out yourself, but for anyone who was going to grab it because it's a roguelike, like that's why I was hesitant to grab it. And then I said, well, screw it. Like I haven't played really a PlayStation 5 game on my PlayStation 5 yet. This is the closest thing yet to one, and like it absolutely is. But it feels more like a puzzle game,
yes,
than a roguelike. And like it's just the roguelike idea is that like you can die and reset the day, but like you actually can die multiple times before the day gets reset. So like that sort of took a lot of pressure and anxiety out of the way for me. When it comes to playing the game. And so because of that, it does feel more like a puzzle where like if I die, I'm like, okay, something went terribly wrong. What did I do wrong? As opposed to like a roguelike where I'm just happy I made it that far just to go back to to square zero, you know?
It's very forgiving. I would say it's more to me from what I can tell. And this is coming from somebody, by the way, that did not play the Dishonored games and did not play Prey. So I mean, I have no experience with Arcane whatsoever. And I do want to go back and play Prey after this, especially on Series X with the frame rate boost. But to me, it seems more like they're kind of giving you this world and letting you experiment with it and do what you want and figure out how you want to kill people or how you want to get to your objective. And I tweeted something out the other day. I just kind of put up on Twitter that to me, this game really gives me feelings that I haven't felt since playing Metal Gear Solid 5. And simply because that game to me was so special because you could go into any scenario and I mean, you had total freedom. I mean, it gave you so many things to use. You just had the environment at your disposal. You had all your weapons, and it's really the same thing here. Like one of my favorite things I've been doing is George, I'm sure you found these too. There are these little turrets that you can hack and take over. And one of my favorite things is just going and grabbing one. And then if I see like a big group of enemies, I'll just toss it into the enemies and then deploy it. And it just murders all of them.
Yeah.
So I've been, there's like fun stuff you can do like that, where it's just like kind of giving you creative ways to again, look at this world and tackle the problems you're facing.
That, and the game feels a lot more like BioShock than I was expecting. Like it's kind of stiff.
And you got my attention.
Okay, it's good. I think it's a little stiff as far as shooters go, just like when you're first starting out, because like you just have like this machine pistol that's like fine for one or two enemies, but like you really shouldn't get into a big firefight with more than that with that machine gun pistol thing. But just in terms of like the world they're building, the people they're sort of like centering around the story, it feels very BioShock, where it is asking very similar questions. I love it. I think it's great.
The story is
considerably further along than I am.
How far are you in it, George?
3 or 4 hours. Like I played it the night I got it. I played it Friday, and then all I wanted to do Saturday was play it. But I'm still building my home.
Yeah.
And I don't have shades up in the living room where my PlayStation is. And the game was just like, I just like literally couldn't see my screen. There was just too much glare. So I had to wait until night. And then I played Ghost of Tsushima with you guys. And then I played Battlefront with Austin. And then I was tired. So I was just like, I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it.
So in the interest of, I want to play more games that like everybody's playing, even if I'm not. I do plan on getting Deathloop. That way I'll be able to talk about it as well. So, yeah, I'll be picking that up maybe Black Friday.
I was going to say, that's a good Black Friday game, I think, because especially Bethesda games, they always go on sale pretty quickly. So yeah. I bet it'll, and it's a $60 game, by the way, even on next gen. So
$50 if you buy it in person at Walmart.
True. True.
Also,
Classic
Elijah, I
Warhammer.
looked this up. 3 out of 10 platinum difficulty, 15 to 25 hours.
See, George knows the ways to get me in.
Yeah. One playthrough too. You can beat the game and then just do cleanup. Okay.
The other thing I wanted to say is that there's not just the single player, there's the invasion mode, which I didn't even know was a thing until like a couple days before this game came out. And so basically the whole story of the game, and I'm sure you've seen it in the trailers, you're playing as this guy named Colt, and there's this woman named Juliana that's like hunting you the whole time, kind of like Nemesis in Resident Evil. And normally she can just come up on you at any time and try and attack you and kill you. And, you know, it can be an AI character or it can be a real person who can come up and try and murder you while you're trying to do your story. And I've only played as her a couple times, but it's so fun to just be like, okay, I'm playing as Colt, I'm having a good time. Let's switch over and go kill some Colts. Go kill some people playing their single player game and just demolish them. And such a like interesting mode to just kind of throw in there as like a kind of like a brief kind of down moment for you to say, okay, I've had enough of the story mode for a second. Let's just have some fun little action, and it's super cool.
Well, I haven't played as Juliana yet, so I have to assume because like I'm playing as Colt. Like I said, I'm only 3 hours in. I've only unlocked like the first gun. So I've been doing like a pretty stealthy approach, and like one thing that like I thought it was a roguelike, and I was like really terrified, but I bumped into like these people called like one's like I think it's called an Eternalist, where it's like mini boss kind of, where it's like slightly more powerful than like the stock soldier. And I killed him to like get his cool loot or whatever, but that set off some alarms, and then there was just so many people, and then I died, and I was like, damn it, I was supposed to sneak into this building. So then when I like came back by the building I was supposed to be into, but like all the people I had attracted were still over by my body looking for my body. And I was like, oh, well, now I can get into the building. So like there's just certain like elements that happen where like dying sometimes actually makes parts of the game easier, but like you don't want to lose all your lives because then like you lose like your progress. Like you don't lose the information you get, which is really cool. So like the story keeps moving forward, but like some of the smaller items you'll find in the world will be lost if you lose all your lives. But it's also pretty forgiving stealth game too.
Yeah. So
And you mentioned about it like crashing a few times on you. One of my friends was streaming it on PC, and she was having such a troublesome time with it. Like this one error kept popping up. That was the game itself. She knew it had nothing to do with her PC or that, and it just was having such a hard time with it. And she has a pretty decent PC, but she had to knock a lot of stuff down to low just for it to actually run.
yeah, and I've heard the PC version specifically has some issues right now, like considerably compared to the PS5. So, you know, if you're listening to this and you're primarily a PC gamer and interested in the game, maybe look into that a little bit first. I can't speak for the PC version, but I mean, the PS5 version, admittedly, it's crashed on me once in 7 hours, but it was kind of frustrating because I was like at the end of like a 30-minute day, and obviously it crashed, and then I had to redo the whole day, which was pretty frustrating because the way the game works, you can't save unless you're through that time period, essentially. So, but yeah, I mean, overall though, I again only probably a quarter of the way through the game, a third of the way through the game. I think it's fantastic, and I really do think it lives up to the hype. So definitely a must play if you're on PS5 and looking for something new.
Yeah. Anything else you've been playing?
Nope, that's it.
All right. So like I said, I wanted to keep playing that game, but there was like too much glare, and I'm like, all right, well that sucks. Like, all right, so like maybe I'll play something I'm a little more familiar with. I got back into Mass Effect. So hard. I went from doing like one of the main planets, I think it was Pharos. You know, the place with like the weird Thorian husk people.
Right.
And then I'm like on the last mission right now. Like I need to go save the Citadel. In like, you know, like I sat down with it twice since Saturday, and I'm already there. All I'll say is people need to stop bashing the original Mass Effect. That game is incredible. And I think all the performance issues were probably a fair reason to bash on the game, but that is no longer the game you're playing. You're now playing like the Legendary Edition.
Story-wise, I was so much more into the first game than the second game.
I think the second game is dope because it's basically like you're assembling a heist. And
Yes.
the entire game is just like the montage of you getting your crew together.
Yeah.
But I agree that I think Mass Effect 1 is probably like the highlight. It's definitely the best story. My favorite game, I think, is still 3 because like 3 isn't about the ending. The entire game is the ending of Mass Effect. It's not the end of the game that pisses you off. It's the fact that Mass Effect is over that pisses you off. So man, I'm just so excited. And like I said, they fixed the trophies, which is really all I wanted.
I just wish the remaster had the multiplayer for 3 because I would be playing the living crap out of that if it had it.
At this point, if they even like just release it as like a $15 add-on, you know how like with Master Chief Collection, they were just like, yeah, here's ODST, yeah, here's Reach. They're not Master Chief, which is why we didn't include them. But yeah, you guys wouldn't shut up, so here you go. Yeah, I'd be down to play that. God, it was so much fun back then. Although I will say it was such a bummer because I remember like playing that to get my galactic readiness up, and then like I was in college when that came out. I like grabbed it on my spring break. Took longer than my spring break to beat it. And I remember like getting my galactic readiness up to 100%. I'm like, all right, let's do this. Then coming back to it 2 days later and seeing my galactic readiness had like dropped down to 60%. Because I'm like, oh, you got to keep doing it. Oh, that's bad design. I don't want to keep doing it like this. But all right, EA, you win me. You win this round. Besides that, dude, I got a new podcast game, and it is Star Wars Battlefront 2. That multiplayer is still excellent. And I'm really happy, Elijah, that Battlefield 2049 or whatever, 2042. What is the year? What year are we on?
2042.
2042. I'm really happy that that's coming out, and you're looking forward to it. But man, I'm so bummed out because that means we are not getting a Battlefront this year. I need more Battlefront. Battlefront 2 is like a perfect multiplayer game.
I also enjoy how George kept upping the year. 2040, 2064, 2087. I don't remember.
Well, because wasn't there was 2149, right? Well, that was like 2142.
I don't know if it was on PC. I don't remember, honestly.
No,
the Battlefield games ran together.
It was like a 360 Xbox like cross.
Yeah, it was 2142. Yeah.
Okay, that's why I couldn't remember which year it was. I'm sorry, because they go high. When they go high, we go low, and we guess smaller numbers, I guess, is the lesson learned there. Yeah, Mass Effect, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Deathloop. And then the game I played the most this weekend, Austin, you asked me when I was going to swear. Here's the swear. I got throttled in all of my fantasy leagues this week. I'm in 5 leagues. In 4 of those leagues, I went up against either Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, or Derrick Henry and Aaron Jones.
Oh.
I got annihilated to the point where I was rooting for the other team because they were all setting high score records in each of the leagues. Oh, fantasy football, you fickle mistress. I love how much I hate you. I hate how much I love you.
I won 3 of my 10 leagues. I get it.
Eat 10,000. Elijah, I hate you so much right now.
That's okay. If it makes you feel any better, all of the leagues I won in were literally my 3 non-money leagues.
Okay, that checks out. That's what fantasy football feels most right. I don't want to sound too dramatic, but if I don't get Rondale Moore off the waiver wires in all my leagues, I might kill myself. So we'll see. We'll see. I might not make the show next week.
My best friend won $180 on that game because he bet on 2-leg bet of Kyler Murray getting 400 yards and Rondale Moore getting over 100 yards. Kyler Murray threw for 401 yards.
I thought he got exactly 400. That's incredible.
And Rondale Moore had over 100. So he turned his $10 bet into $180.
Man, we love a good parlay, don't we?
Let's not talk about parlays anymore because last Thursday I did like a 5-leg parlay to turn my $2.50 into $38.
Hey, Elijah, this is why we don't bet. This is why we don't bet on the NFC East, buddy. This is why we just leave them alone, buddy.
Hey, 4 of those legs happened. You know the one that didn't happen? The only one that should have happened.
Antonio
Gibson touchdown
over 80. Okay, yeah.
No, just a touchdown.
Hey, that's what screwed me too. Thanks for nothing, AG. I can't believe I took you in the first round. I should have taken JD McKissick at the rate we're going. God, I love fantasy football. I hate it, but I love it.
I was really expecting I love fantasy football and then you to just drink an entire beer.
No. Even worse than go like I won like my college league, which is, I'll be honest, the one I care least about because everyone in that league cares the least about that league. So it's just like really like low effort. That's like when I'm like, I'm going to have a fun draft. And yeah, I won in that one, which I don't care about. But in like the other ones, like I just got absolutely hammered. The fact that Aaron Jones got 3 reception touchdowns and that Devontae Adams didn't get a single reception touchdown is just infuriating. It is just, oh my God, I'm still so angry about it. I lost by 4 points to Aaron Jones. And if just one of those touchdowns I got to my boy Devontae Adams, I lost to a guy who started Trey Lance. Trey Lance didn't even play. Like, that was his quarterback. Got 0 points for his freaking quarterback, and I lost to him. God.
George, I feel like listening to this conversation is what people listening to just our video game talk hear when they know nothing about video games. That's what I'm hearing right now. I'm just like hearing like all this nonsense happening.
Well, it's one of those things. It's fascinating. It's one of those things where like you might not understand what I'm saying, but you understand tone.
Right.
So you can see me losing my mind in real time, trying to understand.
In my help, I picked up Davis Mills after the draft in a few leagues. So I have another starting quarterback for now.
Oh my God. Okay. He's playing for the Texans.
I didn't say I have a good one.
So here's what we need to do next year, because we didn't do it this year. We need to combine the fantasy football thing with the video game thing, which we talked about doing.
Yes, the fantasy video game draft.
Yeah, Fantasy Critic. Do you know what this is, George?
Yeah, I do. I've got friends who are into it also. So like, I don't know if it's one of those things where like with fantasy football, you want at least 8 people. Yeah. I don't know what you want with fantasy video game critic.
I did it a couple years ago, and I think we had 6 or 7. So
yeah, I usually see it with like 5 or 6 people.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, yeah, we need to do that at some point, and I would say a good starting time would just be January 1st.
Yeah,
I agree.
So, yeah, maybe we can do that.
Cool. All right, that concludes. Thanks for letting me have that swear.
Oh, of course.
I
mean, I'm going to edit it out. So
I know, but I'm just so frustrated by Aaron Jones.
I mean, that's fair. I don't blame you.
It's just that, like, the Packers were up. They didn't have to throw. Aaron Rodgers threw, but he threw to his goddamn running back, not his all-star receiver. It's whatever. It's fine. Video games. Not a whole lot else to talk about in terms of video games. We talked about what we played. We got some news items that we kind of want to clear up. So, turns out Knights of the Republic that was announced at the PlayStation stream last week, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what time is anymore. That is a timed exclusive for PlayStation, which is funny considering that the original Knights of the Republic was an Xbox exclusive. I've seen a bunch of like op-eds talking about how this is like a major win for Sony in terms of just like third-party support. How do you feel about that? Because I am inclined to disagree that this is like a huge win. I think it's cool, but I also don't think it's like I don't think this makes up for losing Bethesda. I guess is what I'm saying.
I don't think it makes up for losing Bethesda, but I do think of it as a win in the way that anybody who has like been mainly a PlayStation gamer has not had the chance to play this game.
Sure.
And so now they have a chance, and it's coming out on their console first, and they can play it without a majority of people being like, you know, close to release. Hey, I wonder how they're going to handle insert major story spoiler here. Like from people who have played it. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I just know that Twitter can be a terrible place.
Mm-hmm.
So this should help at least kind of let people go in fresh without needing to worry about that. But I just think it is a win, not so much for PlayStation itself, but for the people who play on PlayStation.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I don't necessarily know that it's a win because it's exclusive or timed exclusive necessarily. I mean, it's nice, but I mean, you can say that about so many other games. I mean, as far as like we got, what was it? Rise of the Tomb Raider was the second one, right? That was Xbox exclusive for a year. And it was like, yeah, I mean, that's cool. And then eventually it came out everywhere else. And, also, we all know how that goes at this point.
Also, it died on Xbox because it came out the same day as Fallout 4, November 11th.
Well, and even Deathloop. Deathloop is a timed exclusive.
The stats that Pornhub released that user activity went down because of the infamous release of Tomb Raider.
Yes.
Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely Tomb Raider's fault.
But yeah, I'm like I said, even Deathloop is the same. Next year it'll be on Game Pass. It'll be on Xbox and it'll be free on Game Pass. But I think I agree with Elijah. I think this is more so that it's even on PlayStation in the first place. I think that's a huge deal because like I was never really an Xbox person back in the day. I mean, I had an original Xbox, but
it ran like crap on the original Xbox.
That's what I've heard.
It ran like crap on the 360. Like that was I bought that game, tried to play it on my Xbox. It would barely work. So I'm like, all right, whatever. This game's busted. And then I just played other stuff. And then I got a 360 and then I tried it and it was a little bit better. It plays great. Like with the digital file on your, like I'm only playing it on like my Xbox One. I assume it's fantastic on Series X and Series S. I don't know, man. The more I think about it, the more I'm not sure that like Aspyr is the right studio.
I'm kind of on that. At that same place, like I mean, they're a porting studio, so and I mean, truth be told, I haven't looked into their history much, so maybe they have made full-fledged games or done like higher quality games before, and that's certainly possible. I just don't know. I'm not knowledgeable enough, but I'm not convinced that this is going to be the remake that people are expecting it to be.
I'm not going to say I'm not cautious because I am. But I'm more curious than anything.
Yes.
Because of, like you just said, we don't know what this team can do. So, like, this could turn out horrible. Or it could turn out great. It's like we're experiencing right now with Kena. We didn't know what that team could do. We didn't know if this was going to turn out horrible or great. We had nothing to look back on. So I'm getting that same way with Aspyr, too. I'm very cautious, but I'm curious more than anything.
And they've been a really good port studio. Like, I know a lot of people know them from everything they brought to PlayStation recently, like all the Star Wars titles. But I knew them in college as like the 99.999% sure that they were actually the team that ported like the Call of Duty games to Mac. Because that was like the first thing they started doing was porting PC games to Macintosh. And I remember like playing Star Wars Empire at War on my MacBook and it just ran beautifully. Like I remember playing all these games. Knights of the Republic on my Mac. Like they were able to crack it and like figure it out and bring it to these devices that hadn't really had many games come to them except like Spore. I remember Spore was a big deal on Mac.
Oh, yeah. Spore.
Yeah, they have they have done a lot of Call of Duty stuff. They have a pretty extensive history going back to 1997. They did Carmageddon for Mac.
Ooh. Well, that I don't want to knock him because like what Blue Point was basically a port studio, right? And like look what they did. So like that, I don't want to. No, I don't want to like dunk on Aspyr. Or I always call it Aspyr. I don't want to dunk on Aspyr. Well, it's fun. Like I never like heard it said out loud. I only ever read it from like the screen of my MacBook. So Aspyr is how I said it in my head every time it popped up.
That's fair.
So yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like this doesn't matter. But I'm withholding judgment, I guess. But I am cautiously optimistic. Right. So that was news. Other news is that Insomniac Games were the ones to approach Marvel to produce the Wolverine game, not the other way around. So whatever their idea was, apparently it really wowed Marvel and gave them the green light to produce the game. I'm super excited. I hope we get a weird game that's like a bit more Marvel Universe centric. Like I want to see Wolverine in Madripoor. which is like the criminal island, seedy underbelly of like everything illegal that happens in the Marvel universe starts on the island of Madripoor. I want to see maybe some stealth sections where he's like a Weapon X agent. I want to see maybe even like a war level where he's like fighting in Vietnam. Like I want to see all this weird stuff. Like Wolverine as a character just opens up so many opportunities just because he is so old, just because he has been through so much. And that character is really defined by his trauma. And I kind of want to see it. I want a game that really makes me care about Wolverine, because I haven't had a lot of content that has made me care about Wolverine. I've had a lot of content that makes me go, damn, Wolverine is cool. But I haven't had a lot of, empathy for the character.
Well, I think that's kind of why. I mean, I've never really read any X-Men comics or read any, Wolverine specific comics. So that's just something where I'm kind of ignorant and need to dive into that a little bit more and learn more about his character. But no, that's where I was at. And that's why I've said previously that he was just a character. Not that I dislike him. He's just, and I'm excited for the game. He's just not one of my favorite Marvel characters. But this is cool though. I mean, and we were talking before the show. I'm pretty sure I had heard an interview with, excuse me for not remembering his name, but Brian something from Insomniac. He was the director of Spider-Man PS4, and it was the same thing where they had pitched to Marvel that they wanted to work on a Spider-Man game, and Marvel gave them the rights for that game, and so it wasn't something that had been handed down and been like, oh, you guys should work on this. They were all kind of behind that idea from the start. So it's awesome to hear that they're on the same page with this. And I did read, by the way, the other day too, that they did confirm this is set in the same universe as Spider-Man and Miles Morales. So, which is pretty cool.
That's
and
exciting.
that does open a lot of interesting opportunities in the future. What would be awesome, honestly, is if we like see something like this, and maybe in Wolverine they introduce Hulk or something. Like there would be some really, really neat opportunities, I think, that
each game is just a backdoor to the next game they want to make.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that would be super cool. And also there's X-23 is like an awesome character. That would be super cool. Like the way they're doing sort of like the dual storytelling between Peter and Miles would be awesome to work her in as well.
And don't Wolverine and Spider-Man have a number of interactions in the comics that at least one of I feel like a couple of them are like pretty famous interactions?
There have been some, yeah, for sure.
And I feel like it could set up for like a tag team buddy cop movie of those two.
Yeah, that'd be super fun. I'm pretty sure Wolverine was there when Peter found out like what happened to his parents. I think Wolverine might have been involved.
Wow.
Wink. All right. I think we're wrapping up, but before we get to the end credits, as it were, for the podcast, I'm gonna want to try something with you guys. I'm gonna read to you a list of games. I just want you to tell me if the game is awesome, okay, or bad. Okay.
Soul Calibur.
Let's go.
That's not.
I'm ready.
Okay.
George, you had a question you wanted to ask me earlier too.
I'm keeping that for the end.
Okay.
All right. So again, the game is awesome, okay, or bad. You ready?
Yep.
All right. BioShock.
Awesome.
Okay.
BioShock 2.
Awesome.
And didn't play it.
BioShock Infinite.
Okay.
Awesome.
Bloodborne.
Awesome.
Is there anything better than awesome?
Super awesome. Super mega
duper,
awesome.
Mega awesome, yeah.
You filled in all the blanks.
Broken Age.
Didn't play it.
Okay. I'm going to say awesome. Let's see. Darksiders. The first one.
Didn't play it.
Yeah, I only played a little bit.
I'm going to say okay plus. Doom 2016.
Awesome.
Bad.
Fallout 4.
Okay.
Final Fantasy 7, the original, not the remake.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would say awesome, even though I only played 30 hours.
God of War 2018.
Awesome.
Gravity Rush.
Awesome.
Gravity Rush 2.
Haven't played it yet.
Neither have I.
Okay. I haven't either, but I assume awesome. Heavy Rain.
Okay.
Like worth checking out, right?
Yeah, I'd say okay.
Yeah. Okay plus.
Yeah,
okay,
I think I agree with that.
Okay. Infamous Second Son.
Okay plus.
Okay.
I'm gonna say awesome minus. I'm gonna cheat my own rubric I gave you guys. Injustice 2.
Didn't play it.
Okay.
I'm gonna say okay plus. Judgment, like from the Yakuza series.
Awesome.
Also didn't play it.
I need to play more.
Killzone Shadowfall, not including the last level.
Not including the
Not
last
including
level?
the last level. Awesome.
Yeah, there we go.
And especially if we include the multiplayer.
Yeah.
Which is super fun.
I'd say okay.
Knack.
Okay.
Next one.
Mafia 3.
Didn't play.
Didn't play
I'm going to say awesome. That game was sick. That game was really good. Medieval. Like the remake.
Okay.
I never played it.
Nier Automata.
Awesome.
Another one I haven't
Pillars of Eternity, The Complete Journey.
Didn't play.
Neither did
I know Ray's a big fan, so I want to speak
Ray
for
loves
Ray
that game.
Apollo and say awesome. Putting words in my friend's mouth there. Sorry, Ray.
Well, taking him out of his mouth.
Yeah, that too. Good point. PUBG.
Awesome.
Prey. You haven't played
Still
it.
need to play.
Yeah.
I still need to play it, but I am super excited to check it out, especially after my time with Deathloop.
Yep.
So I would say exciting. Like it's at least exciting to me as a game. Rage 2.
Didn't play.
Yeah, I haven't played it.
Didn't play it either, but would you guys play it?
Yes. It's on my Xbox.
If given the opportunity. Okay.
Yeah. I'd give it a shot.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Bad.
I didn't play it either.
I'm going to say it's great. I didn't finish it, but it's like clearly like a good game.
I played like 10 hours and I couldn't stand to play anymore.
Okay. Resogun.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah, fantastic. Undertale.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say okay as well. I wasn't.
I never played it, but I know that game is highly regarded. Until Dawn.
Awesome.
And XCOM 2.
Didn't play it.
Haven't played 2 yet.
Okay. I only played the first one also. Guess what, guys? All those games are available to download on PlayStation Now.
Wow.
Yeah, you can just download those straight to your console on your PlayStation 4 and your PlayStation 5. I don't think that Game Pass is a better service than PlayStation Now. I think it is an exceptionally better marketed service than PlayStation Now. And I'm really frustrated by people who just think it's like the bee's knees, the bee simulator's knees.
So it must be pretty bad in that case.
Yeah. It's just
all everyone ever hears is the buzz about it.
What's super funny too, though, is I've been trying to play my Xbox more recently, and so like awesome, we played Star Wars Battlefront on Xbox. Been playing like through the Gears of War series with my buddy Fabio, and I can't find the external drive that I had so much stuff like downloaded onto. So instead, I've just been like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go naked, just gonna go with like the terabyte that's on like the console. And I've gotten to the point where I'm like, man, I wish I could stream this game. Like, I've got no more hard drive space. I wish I could just play the game online. And so PlayStation Now, I'm like, oh, it's not a bad idea. So I decided to look through. They've got hundreds of games you can download. Those were, I thought, the best games available that appealed most to me. I thought would appeal most to you guys. There are hundreds more that you can just play. And that does not include the PlayStation 3 titles that you can stream. This isn't an advertisement for PlayStation Now. But it is just like
just Trojan horsed us, George.
Yeah,
Jesus
well, no,
Christ.
but it's just everyone talks about Game Pass being like the best deal in gaming, and like maybe it is, like maybe it really is. But I think PlayStation Now is just not advertised effectively to convey the value that it has, especially considering that PlayStation Now is $60 a year now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like those were some quality titles that I listed. Now, obviously, I think that the Bethesda linked ones are going to go away eventually. I don't think those deals were done like in perpetuity. Yeah, like I don't think those are going to be there forever. But that said, there's still going to be a ton of games there.
Like you mentioned, all 3 BioShocks, great games.
Yeah, like that alone, I think is like worth $60. Plus, after you do it just to play those games, you can like just play all the other ones I talked about.
I need to just do like the trial again or something, or buy a month and just test it out because. I think a lot of what I would do, honestly, would be the streaming, but I need to make sure it works because the last time I did it was shortly after it launched. And so I was like doing it on PS3 and it sucked. It was awful. So, and I have not tried it since, and I'm curious now, like having a fiber internet connection and my PS5, kind of how like PS3 games would stream on there. Because I mean, honestly, there's a lot of PS3 games I want to go back to. I just don't want to break out the PS3. So I need to give it a shot.
I'm going to be breaking out the 360 here soon.
What are you playing on 360?
Born Conspiracy and 99 Nights.
Oh my god! All right, well, hey, can't get in your way. Can't slow you down. Nothing can stop the Loco Lizard Man, for he is Loco, and he is Legion. Well, I think that concludes a double dippin' delicious episode 69 of Frame Skip. Thank you so much for listening. If you are hearing this, that means you know how to find the podcast. That's fantastic. Please tell friends that you think might enjoy where they can find it. It is on your podcatcher of choice. I prefer Overcast. I use that on my iPhone. Big fan of Overcast as an app. And hey, we're there. So if you hate the the Apple podcast app like I do, check us out there. Austin, are we on Spotify?
Yes, we are. We are on Spotify.
That is so cool. We're just as important as Taylor Swift. We are just as important as the Red Hot Chili Peppers and so many other things that are available on Spotify.
I cannot wait to get my iPod Touch next month.
Ooh. Is that a new one or an old one?
Yeah, brand new.
That's exciting. You gonna get Apple Arcade?
Oh, probably not. I'm just doing it as a way to wear Bluetooth headphones, basically. Save my phone battery while at work.
Fair enough. All right. If you have questions, you may hit us up at frameskippod on Twitter. You can shoot us an email at frameskippodcast. What's the email?
frameskippodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, I was guessing and I was right?
Yeah. But George,
that's
let's be honest here. We've been doing this show for a year and a half, and not one person has sent us an email. We've had multiple people do the social media stuff and the forum, but I think it might be time to kill the email.
I mean, well, we still need it for like the Podbean.
Well, yeah, right? But I mean, like, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. We'll
I'll
stop.
just end that there.
Does anyone use the Bitly link?
All right, let me go get the axe.
Sometimes. All right, cool. That's cool. If you are listening, then Seth hasn't been here recently, and that's because Seth has gotten a new position at his job, and unfortunately, his new schedule clashes with when we typically record. Obviously, we want him on the podcast as much as we can have him. We love that dude. But it seems like for the foreseeable future, he will not be joining us unless something changes for him at work and he goes back to a different schedule. So I'm putting a call out. If anyone listening to this has a specific game that they love, that they're obsessed with, we'd love to hear from you. Love to have you on the podcast. We'd love to try to set something up. If you're a huge fighting game fan and you want to talk about Street Fighter, if you're a huge Call of Duty head and you
Star Wars Masters of Terraskasi.
Yeah, if you only play good games, we only let people on who play good games. So yeah, if you're
wait, but George,
then how am I here?
Yeah, we already broke that rule.
But yeah, hit us up at Frameskip pod on Twitter. Give us a pitch for the episode that you'd like to join us for. Talking about a game of your choice. If you're obsessed with Fable, if you're obsessed with Forza, if you're obsessed with Star Wars Battlefront like
Monster
me,
Hunter.
I'm sure we've got
Monster
a lot
Hunter.
to talk about. What was it?
Monster Hunter. People
Monster
that are obsessed
Hunter,
with Monster
yeah.
Hunter, please come on. I love that.
Lollipop
If you're obsessed
Chainsaw.
Yeah.
with Street Fighter 5, like we would love to have people on to talk about games that we don't talk about often. Also, explain to me why this game, this year's Madden is good, or why this year's NBA 2K is good, or why it's bad, and why I need to play the right one. That would be super fun too. So that is a call out for guests. I think next week we're going to try to have my buddy Fabio on. I think we got to talk about some stuff. If there's space for him. I know we got a lot to talk about. Everyone's expecting big things after episode 69. They're like, "Wow, this is a turning point for."
I mean, honestly, should we just end here? Like,
I think
is this the end of Frameskip?
I think we just keep going forever. We just never stop recording because we can't top this. So we might as well just like keep the combo going. You know,
everyone always hopes for big things after 69.
It's true.
You are right.
I don't know if. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to make that joke. That's not appropriate. Austin already edits me enough on this podcast. Speaking of Austin, you can follow him on Twitter at Austin Jeller. You can follow Elijah at Loco Lizardman. You can follow Seth at Seth the 90s Kid. Please don't follow him. You can follow Coach at frameskippod. And you can follow me at PurpleBird616, where I talk about comic books. I'll be honest, guys. I read 30 issues of Daredevil this weekend. I read 14 issues of Thor. I read 30 issues of Captain America. And I've read 20 issues of Fantastic Four. I'm in a big comic swing, and it feels good, baby. I'm all caught up on everything. It feels fantastic. So come dork out with me there. Thank you so much for listening. And we will talk to you next week.
Nice.